All right, welcome guys. This is episode 30 of Prepared, your weekly TBC breakdown. This week we got a whole bunch of. You guys will be happy. We're bringing back Zirene speedrun talk. Everyone clap. We're bringing back the much requested Zirene speedrun talk. It's coming back. It's timestamped in the description for everyone that wants to skip it. So please do not
or everyone who wants to go
comments.
directly to it. Yeah, if you want to go directly to it.
But yeah, so and we will cover a little bit of seasonal mastery stuff. There's some interesting things. We're not gonna obviously turn the whole video into seasonal mastery stuff, but yeah, there will be some little bits and pieces. They're changing some bosses and MC, and they're making interesting changes that could affect Classic in the future if they keep this sort of trend going. So it's interesting to cover that. Then we'll also cover the whole battle chicken shenanigans that took over for a while, and the new adamantite stone stuff that people have been spamming my inbox with.
Yeah,
and then we've also got the WoW stuff lately with the community council announcement, and then there was an Ian Hazzikostas, I never know how to say his last name, interview on Venturebeat, which was interesting as well. I'm not sure a lot of people saw that because it kind of like blended in the background for people that only play Classic. Because but yeah, they did an interview in Venturebeat, and yeah, we'll be covering that as well, talking about that. And so yeah, Zirene, how you been? It's been a little while, good. Right? It's been what, a couple of weeks?
It's just been 2 weeks, right? It's been, I guess, yeah, it's been like 14 days or something. So yeah. No, I've been good, man. I've been good. Rain started speedrunning again, and we put up like US #1 at the time without any PTR, so we're happy about that. I think it was #2 in the world at the time. Yeah, I think it was #1 NA, and then it was #2 in the world or something like that. But yeah, it was it's been good, like picking up speedrunning again. It makes me feel like, really motivated for the game and the day-to-day activities in the game, as opposed to, hey, I'm leveling another alt. Also, speaking of which, speaking of speedrunning and speaking of leveling alts, I'm now on Horde side on Fairlina with Who. So They reached out to me to play Prot Paladin for them, and I was like, I'm fucking not doing anything on their raid days, so because they raid in the middle of the week.
You're the only person I know who would be raiding so much already, and then someone would be like, "Hey man, you got some free days there? Do you want to fill those last days with more raiding?"
Hey! I lost a raid day because I was raiding with Power Raid 2 on Thursdays and Mondays, and now I'm in a GDKP that just does Mondays. So my Thursdays are freed up. So I'm technically only streaming 4 days a week, and I'm like, damn, you really need to add a fifth in there, maybe actually I guess only 3 days a week. Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday. So yeah, 4 days. Looking for the fifth right now. So not enough streams. Yeah, see, Ari's right. I need to keep doing more. So
I like that you're going. It's weird seeing. Actually, I saw Tetsu running around the other day as well because he's on Fairlina as well. It's weird seeing those guys back on Fairlina now, of all places, because I'm used to only seeing him when I'm on EU.
It's really funny because the former main tank for Rain, Fade, is a player in Space Force as well, right? I think he's a tank for them too. So it's like really funny because he used to be on Fairlina. And now his Horde's on Fairlina, so I think he might have had to transfer his characters off to act, or one of his characters off to bring his Horde over. So
that's true because he kind of have both if they're on the same account.
He did, yeah. It was really funny because we ran into, because he's like a big tank player, right? He's actually somebody that I like took a lot of cues from. He has a warrior, a feral druid, and a prot paladin. So he plays all 3 tanks. And we saw his prot paladin in like, maybe like really bad gear, sitting outside in Akadun. And then I was partying and doing like heroics with a bunch of Rain people and the GM of Rain, and we flew down next to him. And he was probably really scared because he thinks the GM of Rain doesn't like him at all. And he messaged me on Discord, and he's just like, "I'm really surprised you guys didn't just fucking camp me." I was like, "Why would we fucking camp you, dude?" Like, he's one of those people who didn't just like abandon the guild. he told you that he was going to leave in like a few weeks, right?
Yeah.
So I think GMs never have an issue with you if you just tell them, right? Someone did kill him. Yeah, it was some random who was like some random mage was sitting there like by the stone. So, but yeah, if you tell your GM you're going to leave in a few weeks, they usually can't hold it against you. If you're somebody who fucking disappears, then they probably be salty, you know. So.
Oh, I speaking of which, you've done the exact opposite of me, Zirene. I've gone down to 1 raid now instead of 2 that I was doing before.
You might need to pick up another one.
No, I'm enjoying my 2 more days to PvP and do other stuff.
You know what's really funny though is when I look at the top 12 speedruns on Warcraft logs, the US representation is all Fairlina, and then I guess Netherwind for Overclock, because like Rain, Infinite, Who, Space Force, all Fairlina guilds. So like, but I guess 3 of those are Horde and 1 of them is Alliance. So like, you know, the Horde Fairlina side is actually getting like really stacked, is basically what I'm getting at here. So like a lot of people are coming over there. So Netherwind is transferring to Benediction. Yes, Overclock is transferring to Benediction as soon as their transfers are all up, because Benediction is where all the Alliance are going to go. Like, it's insane when you look at the numbers.
Yeah, legitimately the biggest server in WoW.
Yeah, yeah. Rain has contemplated going there multiple times. We've had that discussion a lot. So, which brings me to one question. You know how you asked me previously, like, what would I change if I had like full control of WoW?
Oh, okay, yeah.
I think I would actually lower the transfer cooldown window as well.
So it's 6 months right now, right?
Is it 6? It might be like 3 or 6 or something like that. I'm not sure what it is. Let me see. Restrictions.
90 days, Chad is saying.
90 days. I'm sitting here going like, I wonder if they should just lower the cooldown on transfers. Because one, it would make them more money, which, you know, if at the core of the issue, it's like, one, you're just allowing people to use this service more frequently that people actually engage with and use and don't really mind paying for, you know?
Yeah.
They see it as like a transaction to actually get something very useful out of it. So like I would probably just lower the cooldown transfer to like almost half of that, like literally like a month and a half, right? Like 6 weeks. Because, well, I'm like, why is it 90 days? Is it just because you don't want people to like go to one server and like farm all this shit on it and then transfer to another server and sell all the stuff?
I do know people that have done that.
But I'm just like, is 90 days really enough time to like dissuade people from doing that? And like,
it hasn't stopped them. Everyone I know has gone and done that anyway.
and I'm like, is 6 weeks, 5 weeks like any different in terms of that span? Because if somebody's gonna do it, they like. I don't know. I think cutting it in half, making it 45 days would be like really nice. Like 6.5 weeks, 6 weeks. Because I don't know. I feel like there's a lot of guilds now where like somebody transfers to their server. Like let's say you transferred, because I know Overclock, for example. Overclock is very much so a transfer heavy guild. I know a lot of the people on there, like a decent amount of them are like former Rain, and like other speedrunning guilds and stuff like that. And they're kind of held back by the fact that there's a lot of people who don't have transfers up, right? And I feel like if you make transfers available more frequently, you'll make more money, people will use it more and go to healthy servers, and they're probably more likely to keep playing the game. Because if I transfer to Overclock like right now, let's just say I'm like, fuck Rain or whatever, like let's go to Overclock. I go there and then they're like, oh, we're transferring to Benediction. Like, I'm fucked, right? Like, if I transferred to, like, Overclock, like, 2-3 weeks ago before they made the decision, like, either I'm stuck on that server while they move, or, like, in like, 6 weeks is not, like, a destruction period for somebody, right? Like, I feel like 90 days at that point is, like, almost an entire phase. You're getting to that point. So, So I just feel like, or they could just take better care of their servers and population. Well, like, how do you do that? Like that, I think that's honestly the whole point here is like, if you start merging servers of like equal sizes, then people feel like their server identity is gone and stuff, but like they're going to transfer anyway. So it's like, it's really interesting how like this is a problem that nobody's really found the solution for, right? It's too late now. Well, I mean, there. What about the servers that are still healthy, right? Like, I don't know. I feel like people are just gonna like, it had to be done at the beginning of class. Well, what did they have to do, Menarch? Like, just let me know, because I'm sure they would like to know too. Because I'm sure they would have tried to do it. Because there's always every solution has big issues with it, right? Like people are like, oh, merge servers, or people are like, oh, have like cross server stuff. But ultimately, you know, people are just going to go to the servers that have like the good population for their side, and it's always going to go that.
Which brings about a very interesting point I saw that people were discussing is that for Season of Mastery, everyone seems to be planning to just roll on like make mega servers, like absolutely bonkers mega servers. Because now everyone has the hindsight to look at what happened with Classic the first time around and say, oh, you have to tough it out through the queues because otherwise you end up on dead servers. So now everyone is just going, oh, okay, this is the mega server. We welcome 20-hour queues or whatever insane number it's going to be, and they're all going to just hard roll on one server.
Yep.
So it's going to be interesting. It's going to be interesting for Season of Mastery. But I've always enjoyed the mega servers. They are literally the most fun because they're always active. Like they don't have downtimes where there's no one playing.
Yeah, it's actually interesting because I think they should make. I mean, this might be a little hard because I know there were private servers that people really liked that had global servers. So like, you know how like EU and NA can't really play with each other right now. There were private servers that had that. Now people would like, you know, maybe complain about ping and stuff like that. But if you find like a centralized place or a more centralized place to make it, you can actually like get away with it to some degree with good tech. But it does require an investment. So yeah, but I remember people were talking about like their servers. They were like, they could be on at like 3 a.m. and there's like Europeans who are like raiding, right? So it having a server that's active like 24/7 would actually be like really interesting. But yeah, Fairlina is not like that. Like maybe Benediction is like that, but like Fairlina is definitely not like that. So.
Oh yeah, for sure. Fairlina. Interestingly enough, because I play on both Whitemane and Fairlina, I actually noticed Whitemane is a little bit more round the clock than Fairlina is. Even though Fairlina is a similar sort of population level than Whitemane. I don't know why that is, but yeah, Fairlina is it definitely has its dead hours. Where I'll try to get an enchant and suddenly like, wait, where did all the enchanters go? Like it hit like some random hour and suddenly all of them logged off. And I can't find them. It's really weird.
Yep.
Yeah, but
lots of boomers on Fairlina. Yeah. We need our sleep.
Yeah. I did see you at the arena guide the last night actually. I think I was doing some arenas. I saw a little Zirene Paladin run past.
Oh, you saw my pally?
Yeah, and then I was very surprised when I inspected, and I was like, "Wait, is he like 2K and 2s on a paladin?" And I was very shocked because I don't see paladins at 2K. Well, like,
no, you don't.
You just don't see them. It's always 5s. It's always 5s.
I saw you in Grayson's stream. Yeah, we beat Grayson one time, and then he beat us, but it was just because against Mage Rogue as Pally Warrior, they have to go on the Warrior. If they go on me, then they lose. If they go on Warrior, it's like the easiest matchup in the whole fucking game. Because all they have to do is CS me, Shadow Step kick me, or wait out my bubble. And if they're waiting out my bubble, they just have to like sheep the Warrior, keep him at bay, and then they can like go on me afterwards. But yeah, normally they just have to shatter combo him and like keep him stun locked. He should die in kidneys. He should die in cheap shots. But yeah. No, we beat him one time because the rogue went on me, and then the warrior just got the free hit Grayson, and I don't have to heal. I just have to fucking keep him freedomed and shit. Yeah, so I ran into him one time, beat him, and then the second time they beat us. But yeah, no, I also have like no PvP gear. I play prot. Like I literally have no honor gear, and my only PvP pieces are just the blue set pieces from shoulders and pants.
See, I have the opposite problem with my rogue now because I told you I stopped raiding on that guy. All I have is PvP gear, and I don't have the PvE gear pieces that I need on that guy. Or rather, I don't have a weapon. So I'm contemplating potentially just buying the PvP weapon. It's not as good as a Rod of the Sun King, but it's not that far off. Because so
You
long
stopped
story
raiding?
short, long story short on that rogue. That was a rogue where I was in the midst of like trying to fix the whole guild issues and like we
Oh
were
no.
on the up we were making progress and all this. But then it turns out that that we had disagreements regarding the prio or rewards for doing such work and actions. Because so what basically happened is I ended up taking over basically all the admin. Like I did everything. I did everything from the sheets to the loot to the figuring out the BIS list and then tracking everything, and I was doing all that stuff. And I really begrudgingly never wanted to ever do any of that stuff because as anyone has ever done that stuff, it sucks. And it's like having a second job and you have to deal with everyone's loot issues and all this other nonsense. So what happened is that we got into a Warglaives discussion one night. And as it turns out, not everyone agrees that I should get any prio for doing all that work. Which I was very shocked at because on every single front that I could think of, I should be prioed. And I know it's kind of self-serving to think that, but
you're a rogue.
I'm literally I'm literally doing the most guild contribution. I'm literally the highest person if we want to use the PvP front. As far as rating goes, like attendance, performance-wise, like I couldn't think of any metric where I shouldn't be prioed. So at that point, it was like, well, I can go for the next year, basically having a second job and running the admin, and then hoping that I get prioed the Warglaives like 6 months down the line. Or I could just not do that and just PvP and have 2 more days to PvP. So I picked option 2.
I like this. You shouldn't get prio for glaives. Okay. Guild disbands and no one gets glaives. Surprise Pikachu face. I mean, it's more like this guy thinks he should get glaives. I mean, his reward for doing all this is he gets to play rogue and raid. Like, what the fuck? That should just be its own reward that you actually get to play the character you want to, and it's raid. Like, because like I know this is actually happening. This is actually happening to some other guilds too. I know one guild on Alliance side where the rogue who thought he was getting Warglaives prio, and he's like actually a well-known rogue. I won't actually like name him because I don't know if he wants to be named. I know that he thought he had Warglaives prio, but what happened is they swapped his Warlock to Raid 1, and instead of like having his rogue come in for like just Illidan in Raid 1, they said you get Warglaives in Raid 3. And Raid 3 probably won't fucking kill Illidan for a long-ass time because they just now killed Vaj for the first time.
Oof.
So he's upset, and he's like, I have enough fucking money from like boosting PvP. He's just like, I could probably just join a GDKP and have a better chance of fucking downing it and also like getting glaives there. So
yeah, Felina's got some good GDKPs as far as like performance
on Horde side. Horde
side, yeah.
There's only one on Alliance side, and it's run by Rain, and we don't kill Vaj yet. So yeah. Because we bring people like Snuts and Swacked and Blue Notes and stuff like that, and then some people who come like basically to put it long story short, when we did Vaj and I looked at the DPS meter, 6 people had the same damage as me as a prot warrior. So, and we're only running 3 tanks. So the other 3 people were a chemo rogue, God, I don't even remember what the fuck this other person was. I don't remember what they were, but it just blew my mind. And then the other person was a frost mage, who happened to have frostbite. So when they hit Striders, the Strider would sometimes get locked in place randomly. So it was like you can't even get near the Striders. It was like if frostbite goes off and you're near the Strider, it's just like it just fucking nails you. So yeah, it was rough times.
Yeah, I'm just glad that I had a second option because like you said, like if I was only raiding on one rogue, I would maybe be guilted into be like, well, I want to raid. And even though like it kind of sucks that I'm not being prioed for all the work I'm doing, like I still want to raid. But because I have another rogue that's already 10 out of 10 in clearing, I wasn't put in that situation where I can be like, well, work's not worth the effort. I'm not doing it.
Yeah.
And but there's definitely other rogues out there who are in that same situation, and they don't have a second option because that's the only option.
Yeah, I mean, if my rogue's raid disbands, like, I don't think anybody's gonna take my rogue. Like, I actually think rogue is considered by almost everyone the worst class in the game.
Except rogues. Except
so.
rogues.
No. Even the rogues, even me. Like, I just like, I'm like, I still, when I play my other classes, I still feel like rogue. You can try to do really well, and you can do pretty fucking well, but like, come on.
Yeah, well, the argument is always that I always get from rogues who are trying to like pump up the rogue stock a bit is that they can outperform if they are the better player in comparison and such to like someone who's a less better player. But like the tricky thing is like you can always pull that card, right? You can always pull that card. You can always be like, well, this hunter doesn't know how to play hunter, so I'm
a better
like,
survival hunter will beat like a bad BM hunter.
Yeah, it's like
of course.
Yeah, it's that argument just doesn't work really if we're talking about actually comparing two things. So
yeah, so out of the top 15 speedrunning guilds, top 15 fastest times, guess how many rogues there are within the top 15 guilds?
A plenty, I hope, that you're about to tell me.
Just pick a number between whatever the heck, like
2?
1 in higher.
Higher.
I haven't seen it in chat yet. I haven't even seen the number in chat yet.
Really? How many are we guessing here? Guilds?
15. 15 guilds. Still haven't seen the number. Okay, I saw it now. If it's finally been said, there's 5.
5?
There's 5.
And they were on the main team?
Yes. The team that made like the top 15 times, only 5 of them run a rogue. So,
and you running 2 rogues?
No, none are running 2 rogues. They're going for time, Snow. They're not fucking going for the charity, like most charitable guild. Come on, they're trying to compete here. I thought it was 0 TBH. Well, I mean, within like the top 5 guilds, I think there's 2. Like Overclock didn't run 1, Noda didn't run 1, Calamity run 1. Newman didn't run any, Space Force didn't run any. So within the top 5 guilds, only one of them ran a rogue. But I was nice and said the top 15. So, Calamity is like second with a rogue. They're third with a rogue. They're the only one who ran a rogue.
Man, I have been enjoying this. It feels like people are starting to shift now from farm mode into actually trying to be competitive and such. Yeah. to be competitive and actually pushing passes and pushing times and such. Because now a lot of the decent guilds have been farming 10 out of 10 for a little while. So now they've started turning the switch on. Even my semi-hardcore guild on Whitemane has started being like, okay, well, we've been dad guild enough now. Now it's time for everyone to push their passes. We're going to start doing scrolls. We're going to start doing hate spots. We're going to start getting up to like top 10 on the server and such. Because otherwise, you don't really have much else to do. But I've really enjoyed, like, I've almost forgotten because it's been a while since I bothered pushing for like the passes for like the hardcore 99s. That it's actually pretty fun when you actually have the whole guild pushing for the 99 and you're like, okay, we need everyone to survive on this boss. If anyone dies here, you're gonna screw us because we need to hit this time check on this boss so that we don't have to do another phase on him here. And it's like a good collaborative effort, which is really fun.
Yeah, like you want to talk about like how Alwando has like. You look at the tops for boss fights in like SSC and TK, and he's got like number 7, and everybody else is fucking Arcane Mage. And then Tempest Keep, he's number 1, and everybody's Arcane Mage. So yeah, it's like when everybody's playing for the parse, and especially your parse, you can do really well in like, especially as a warrior too. Warriors are like, they just get the more assistance they get, they just like a multiplier on that shit. They're just really fucking good.
I did wade into the Fight Club Discord to discuss glaives with the Warriors. That was an interesting one. To discuss the glaives. Although it actually went pretty interestingly well, because I'm usually a pretty unbiased person when I'm discussing things with the class communities and such. Because I was basically, what I did was I tried to find out who gets the most single target DPS.
I don't understand, Snow. Why you literally went into the beehive with a fucking stick and you were like, "How about them warglaives?" Poke, poke. Well, hey, Fight Club, how's it going? So wait, you said it wasn't that bad. What happened?
Okay, so it turns out, as any loving community does, they have a few people who are known as the lower IQ spectrum people in the community.
Resident clowns. Yeah, yes, our podcast has one. You're welcome. It's me. But yeah, everybody has it. Everybody has it.
And it seems like when those people, when I'm neutral enough or reasonable enough, that even those people are kind of turning the corner.
When you've appeased them.
Yeah, when I have appeased them, it seems no, they're pretty reasonable outside of the fact that they think the rogue class should just be deleted and not in raids. Outside of that, they're pretty reasonable. But I did find some interesting information though, in that for single target at least initially, and this is very rough because we don't have final proc per minute numbers on glaives and all that sort of stuff. It's just guessing at this point still.
Yeah, is
that rogues really do gain more for single target than warriors do by a little bit. I think the Fight Club numbers were anywhere from like 150 up to 200, depending on how min-max you set the sim. Because the thing about warrior sims is that because they scale so well, every little thing that you add just amplifies it. But at some point, you start adding in a lot of things that just don't happen all the time, or like a very min-maxy, and it won't apply to like 99.9% of warriors. So somewhere around like the 150 to 200 DPS mark was how much DPS they gained from having warglaives, according to the sims. And then on the rogue sim, it was basically like 170 to 200 or something like that. So but those are very rough numbers, but it did seem that rogues were ahead on single target. But then the problem with discussing that is always that, well, once you start to factor in cleave and overall, warriors do, come ahead. If you start thinking about overall damage, it's just like you're not going to beat a warrior on overall as a rogue. It's just never going to happen. So it's one of those interesting things where it's like, well, you beat them on single target, but then they crush you on overall. So it's like, how do you weigh that up?
Rogues have a lot of ceiling, because once warriors get to a point, where they get enough rage to put Bloodthirst and Whirlwind on cooldown, and to be able to spam Heroic Strike the entire time, basically what you did in Classic. Yeah. Once you have enough crit damage with your offhand, rage generation, haste, all that stuff, to do that, you don't really get much better than that in terms of like your scaling. Armor pen is what you want. Haste is really good just in general, right? But you can't dump your resource faster than that without getting like more haste, and having a 2.8 speed main hand weapon does affect that a little bit. But for rogues, it's kind of like you already have a 1 second GCD. There's no way you generate too much of your resource to not be able to dump it fast enough with swing timers, right? Like you have to have like an absurd fucking, like you have to have like 30 battle squawks to be able to even have like enough attack speed to get to a point where you generate too much energy, right? Because you'd have to generate, your offhand would have to generate 3 procs a second to actually have too much energy to dump, which isn't really possible. So it's like haste for rogues is like almost infinitely scaling to whatever like the degree it can. Whereas warriors, once you get your 2 things on cooldown and then you start dumping rage as fast as possible, but you generate it at the same rate, then it's like you don't really get too much better than that in terms of your ability usage. So warriors will like hit the same abilities no matter what. And then rogues, it's like the sky's the limit, and just how many sinister strikes you can get out with haste and shit, however fast as possible. Now, warriors, obviously, haste is still good too for like dumping heroic strike rage, but yeah, I can see that for like rogues being like really good single target. And I know for a fact, based on like my personal experience back in the day, and I know private servers aren't really a good measure, but like glaive rogue is like a different beast, right? Yeah, haste is king for dumping rage. It's king for dumping rage, but also generating rage, right? So once you're able to just like do that at the same rate, it's like once a warrior gets to a point where they put their 2 abilities on cooldown, and then they can just spam and like just mouse scroll wheel heroic strike, their ability inputs don't really get much different, right? Whereas rogues, it's like it gets very different with haste. So I see that scaling portion, but yeah, the glaive rogue is like a different kind of beast for the most part. Like you definitely feel like a different class. And that proc is incredibly good. And the 1.4 speed offhand with the proc and all that shit. So, yeah.
Yeah,
I can see it being slightly better for rogues than single target, but that's like polishing a turd, you know? Like, giving glaives to a rogue is like polishing a turd. It's still a fucking turd at the end of the day. But it's up to you whether you want to polish it or not. And you know what? I'm going to be a polished turd in my guild. So, you know.
Well, it's one of the interesting things. It's one of the things I was talking about in Fight Club. It's actually one of the things that a lot of the warriors agreed with me on, in that one, glaives usually does go to the person, not necessarily the class, because of guild contributions and other factors that make it easier to determine something like glaives prio. Like we've said in the past with like, if you're on the loot council, usually you sacrifice loot and all that sort of thing. But usually your reward at the end of the day is that when there's that one item that you've wanted for the entire game, you finally pull out the card like, hey, I've been doing this work for the last year. Can I please get the first one? And then usually people are like, oh yeah, he's been doing good work. And then you can get the award there, like the first attach in Classic and things like that. But yeah, the other thing was that it's very hard to always award loot based on just who gains the most DPS, right? Because then, unless you're a hardcore guild where everyone is chasing one guild goal and no one cares about even loot distributions and things like that, you're just going to end up stacking certain people or certain classes way more than other people. And then that's going to lead to uneven loot distribution, to like salty people, and especially in the less hardcore guilds, that's going to be some infighting from that 100%, and people are going to get pissed and quit potentially and such. So it's one of those things where, yeah, you technically you do want to give the item to the person who will benefit the most, but you also have to think about even loot distribution and like when the last time this class got an upgrade is, like how much does it mean to this class, etc., etc. And it's one of those, it gets really complicated. That's why you can't always do it just based off of DPS.
I to some degree agree, and think it has to do with your. It just has to do with your guild.
Your guild,
right?
yeah, exactly. That's the same conclusion I had with them. Is that it depends on your guild. Like how hardcore is your guild? What are your goals as a guild?
What is your guild trying to do? Right?
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, we do have some. Oh, you did bring up the battle chicken stuff, so we must as well talk about it now. The whole battle chicken shenanigans that happened. Let me see. Let's share the screen. So we have. I mean, I can just show the battle chicken. So battle chicken, for people that don't know what battle chicken is and what happened over the last week, and this is also thanks in a lot part to Fight Club, actually, who did a lot of this testing and such as well. In that, Gnomish Battle Chicken has something a lot of people have been using for a long time, actually. If you look at, for example, Orlando's passes for a long time, he's always been someone. Like Bipolar has always been a guild that's been very aware of stacking Battle Chicken squawks and such. So what people found out over the last week is that you can trigger it more reliably or almost every time if you engage your battle chicken trinket or pop it when the mob is aggressive towards you already. if there's an aggressive mob on you or being aggressive to you, and then you pop your trinket, the squawk comes like instantly almost every time. It's like a very high percentage of squawking.
It's like if the mob has taken a hostile action towards you, squawk will go off instantaneously.
Yeah.
So like even if you have like if it's an AoE thing, right?
Yeah.
So
yeah, so it was a very interesting period. For a while, I got a lot of messages from people like, "Oh no, is this gonna ruin all the passing matters and such?" But like here's the thing though, I feel like everyone that knew about Battle Chicken was already abusing Battle Chicken in a lot of cases. It's only made it a little bit more reliable to abuse the Battle Chicken in that now they can reliably do it without without having to spend as much time. I feel like the only thing this forced battle squawk or easy battle squawk has done is that it's made it a lot easier for these guys who have been doing this to accomplish their goals. Because for as long as I can remember, people in Blackwing Lair were already stacking squawks to a crazy number. Like people in Blackwing Lair, before you pulled the drakes, there was that mechanic guy that taught you the I think the smelting recipe or whatever. People would pull him, have him tanked, and everyone would pop their battle chickens and get their squawk procs and then pull the mob. So people were already doing this sort of cheesy pass stuff way back in Blackwing Lair days. So it's nothing new. It just makes it more reliable, honestly speaking. And Blizzard did already do some nerfing shenanigans because people did find out also that, hey, if it's forced, we could also pop it on ourselves, log out, wait the cooldown, and then pop it on ourselves again until you have 5 billion squawks popped on you. They very quickly nerfed that. You already can't do that. They made it count down in real time as soon as you have a squawk buff on you. So no more 500 squawk buff shenanigans for anyone.
Yeah. I think they made it unique too, so you can't have.
Did they end up making it unique? I'm not
for
sure.
For you.
Oh, for you. Okay.
So like, I can't give myself a second squawk.
Yeah.
But like I can have 5 squawks, one for each person in my group, but it will refresh my own if I get another, right? So of my own. So I can't like log out and then log back in when the cooldown is back on, and then like give myself a second squawk. So. Yeah, because you could have stacked like 30 of them. No joke, 30. If you have 5.
I mean, there were screenshots of people who were like, we had like 15 of them.
Yep.
It would have made some very interesting passes for a week though if they took a little bit more time to nerf it. But so that was the whole battle chicken shenanigans. It still works, by the way. It's still a good. Here's the thing: if you're an average person in average guild, though, I think you don't change how you use the battle chicken that much. Because in an average guild, if you try to pre-pop it before the boss, half the time you're gonna be like, "Hey guys, I just got the squawk. We got to pull." And meanwhile, your average guild will be like, "We're waiting for mana. We're gonna need another minute here." And then by the time you actually pull, your squawk buff is probably like mostly gone at that point. So for like the average guild, I'd almost say the traditional way of how you used to pop these battle chickens, which is you just pop it just before the pull and then swap the trinket out, is still probably the way to go if your guild isn't actually pulling a mob that's going to be aggressive and then pulling the boss right after and such. It requires a bit of setup even with this trick to do it like ideally, basically. But I mean Fight Club was busy, man. They were doing the battle chicken shenanigans, and then they had the adamantite stone discovery as well in that same kind of period of time right after. So Zirene knows about this as well, which is they found out that sharpening stones apply to both hands. When you apply it to like your offhand, for example, it applies to both hands. I don't know actually the genesis of how they found it. Do you happen to know how they actually found this?
I don't know, but what happened was like it was funny as fuck because on my stream in TK, I put an adamantite sharpening stone on for Void Reaver, and I went, huh, when I moused over my character damage because I was gonna like replace my my stone after Void Reaver, and so I had like a poison clicked, and I was about to like replace my stone, and then I go, wait a second, why is my damage green? So I like mouse over it, and then it says like plus 12 on main hand, and I was like, huh, it applies to your main hand too. Interesting. And then I just go, I don't replace the poison. I just like go the entire day with it. But it's good And even just looking at that, I was like, that seems really good because Sinister Strike, obviously, main hand attack, that's instant. 12 more damage on that is fucking great. Before like crits and all that other shit. But it's actually better than I thought it was when people found out like how it works and how it interacts with stuff. So that was the interesting thing to me.
Yeah, it is fascinating. I always find it interesting how people even find these things out and then just randomly test them like this. But yeah, so by the way, for all the rogues that keep messaging me asking me if is this the end of deadly poison, you still use deadly poison. Nothing really much has changed. It's only if like the fight is super short, let's say less than, I don't know, 20-30 seconds, something like that, where you would maybe consider going some sort of adamantite poison on your offhand. Like, so for trash, for example, is where you would use it over deadly. But honestly speaking, a lot of rogues don't bother swapping out their deadly anyway. And a lot of rogues didn't put instant on the offhand anyway because it griefed your shamans. So
yeah.
Not
rogues
a lot
didn't care about that shit. So.
Yeah, rogues don't care. This is more like it affects warriors a lot more, honestly speaking, than rogues do. Rogues are still probably just gonna keep using your deadly in your offhand, and you're probably gonna just do that because a lot of rogues don't really care much about trash damage either.
Yeah, I mean, we are trash damage, so but like the biggest part of it is the order in which it applies, which like people are saying like the Hunter Guildies insisted that double application has always been in their Sims Discord knowledge. Yeah, which is fine, but the thing that was like biggest for rogues was it applies before dual wield penalty, and then is added to dual wield bonuses. So the plus 12 on my offhand applies after the 50%, but before the increases. So the 50%, because your offhand hits for half damage, right? So offhand, just dual wielding hits for half damage. You get plus 12 to that damage. And then my dual wield bonus, which increases my dual wield as a rogue, right? Increases the damage of my offhand by 50%. That then gets recalculated. So I actually get plus 18 damage from a sharpening stone for my offhand, is what people are saying. So it applies it applies after the 50% reduction, but before the 50% increase I get from my talents. Which, for me, makes me wonder, how good is plus weapon damage on your rings as a rogue? Because enchanting may just be your second best profession now for PvE, right? So
yeah, because I think Zirene messaged me this point. I was thinking about it because you only really have one profession that's kind of like must have your parse rogue, which is the engineering. You got to have the grenades and sappers and all that good stuff. So you've got the engineering. And the other one is kind of like, you can go jewel crafting because like late in TBC we get the necklace and such. But until then, the second slot isn't really that much. Assuming you have a drummer in your guild who's competent. Assuming you have that drums, your second slot is kind of open. You don't really have like a really good must-have option for a second slot. So it does make it interesting because in the past, plus weapon damage was always trash, known as trash. For rogues, it was just like barely anything. But it's interesting. It might actually be not bad.
Makes the jewel crafting neck really good too for you.
Yeah. When
you have the jewel crafting neck on and the active, I think it makes it better than your current bis neck.
Current bis, yeah. So it's not bad. So my guild actually started rotating the jewel crafting neck as well now a lot, and it's just always the rogues should always be happy to do it now because I mean it's a good DPS for you regardless. So you must as well be using the neck.
Yeah. And no reason not to, right? So yeah, I agree.
Yeah. So Season of Mastery stuff. We have a whole bunch of Season of Mastery stuff.
Ooh, yeah.
This stuff was interesting. Wait, let me find what I have the Season of Mastery stuff. This Community Council. Okay, here we go. So I guess firstly is the mini stuff is that they added a little thief debuff to Season of Mastery. So They're continuing the trend of trying to fix the stuff that people complained about a lot back in the time. I don't know if it'll actually be like productive in the end of the day, but they're making steps. So basically, what this thief debuff does is it stops rogues who kind of do the pickpocket stuff in Blackrock Mountain. Basically, it stops them from going into Blackrock and doing the pickpocket stuff. I don't know how much impact it will actually have because most people found better gold farms than this. It helps, I guess, stop the bots from doing it. But whether the bots will just find something else to do instead, I don't know. But it's nice that they act proactive about these things. I just, I kind of wish they did this when it was relevant more so the first time around if they were going to do stuff like this. But it's nice. I at least like to see that they're being proactive and they're actually doing stuff this time around. Maybe it's nice to see for a change. But then they announced the launch details as well. So for people that don't know, Season of Mastery coming, I think is the 16th, right? November 16th is the Season of Mastery release date. Which is very soon.
12 days.
I was not expecting it to be this soon. I was expecting it to be like a month or 2 months down the line or something.
Ragnaros said it's too soon, man. It's too soon.
Are you going to be there?
It's way too soon.
Zirene, on launch day?
I don't fucking know. I really don't know. It honestly depends on what I'm doing at the time. Like,
it feels like they rushed it out so fast, though. I really thought it would be on PTR for a lot longer, and they would test stuff, and they would there'd be a lot of iterations and stuff. But
yeah, I don't know.
It's already coming. It feels like yesterday we were talking about them thinking about doing this, and then suddenly, oh yeah, it's launching November 16th.
It's just strange. I have no clue why it's like this. People are saying for Final Fantasy.
Wait, does it coincide with any specific quarterly reports or anything?
Don't think so.
I don't think so.
I think they just had theirs and said that D4 and Overwatch
Diablo
2
did very well for them apparently.
Oh, D2 Resurrected?
Yeah.
Well, D4 and Overwatch 2 were like delayed, so it's like that's all I know out of that shit. But yeah, I don't know. Feels really strange how this is like.
It's already here. Yeah. Especially since they're still testing stuff. Like the rest of the Season of Mastery stuff that we're going to talk about is basically that they've now decided that okay, the HP buffs on the Molten Core stuff isn't enough, so they're gonna literally add stuff that didn't exist to Molten Core. So it seems the most common trend is literally just adding extra ads in places where there were ads, for example. So for Lucifron, instead of 2 ads, now you have to deal with 4 ads. On Magmada, they're just making like the Corehound spawn now. While you're fighting the boss, more Corehound spawn. It looks like they really like this adding more ads mechanic because it seemed to be a trend for like most of this stuff. Mm-hmm. Is that more ads? Yeah, 4 flame walkers for Gehennas instead of 2. Gar did they do anything for Gar? Any more ads? What did they do for Gar? Let me see.
What they did for Gar is if you kill all the ads, he enrages. And there was like another mechanic. There's another thing.
Things were
spawning little. Spawning little suicide bomber.
Yeah, little suicide bombers will spawn on top of you. Okay.
Knocks you back and stuff too.
Living bomb. Now it's 3 people. Okay, that's it. That's actually interesting. I would tune in to watch people wipe on Geddon. That's good content.
Yeah, 3 bombs, and then he leaves a patch down when he uses his Inferno. So the entire room gets like filled with shit.
Yeah, I mean it's interesting. They're basically just taking all the existing mechanics and making them a little bit kind of tuned up. What are your thoughts on it though? Do you like these changes or not?
I don't know. I like some of them. For sure. Like I like the living bomb one, but I kind of don't like the Shaz mechanic and all this stuff. Because honestly, what's going to happen is people are going to have to clear more trash. doing this, right? Like in order to do Gar, you have to clear the entire room, right? In order to do Sulfuron, you have to clear the entire room, right? You have to clear the entire room for this shit. Melee stacking, woo. Actually, a lot of these mechanics are bad for melee. Especially the Sulfuron one. The Sulfuron one actually discourages melee stacking like pretty hard. So it's like, yeah, like really hard actually. They have a shared health pool, and then he'll throw a buff at one dude. So basically, he has 4 ads, and you have to separate the ads from each other. They all have a shared health pool, and he throws like a buff at one of them. And if that ad is next to any other ads, they all get enraged, right? So it's like a splash buff that will like link to other ones. So you have to spread them out, so you can't cleave on that fight. Like cleaving is impossible on that fight. But I saw what Safe did on this fight is they actually just mana burned and mana drained all 4 ads until they couldn't heal, and then they DPS'd them. So, because he was like, there's 4 ads trying to heal each other, and it's like impossible to like interrupt all of them because on Alliance side, you don't have like that many rogues or warriors to spread out on each one, and you don't have shamans. So it's like, you can't really interrupt every single one. And when they're spread out from each other and stuff, you have to just assign people to different ones, and it lowers your damage a lot and all that shit. So they just like mana burned all of them to 0, and then they actually did the fight. So it's like, I don't know if they'll fix that or not, but it felt like really weird to just be able to get by that mechanic that way. So yeah, it was interesting. Time for Shadow Priest to shine. Yeah, Shadow Priest will probably do really well because you like the multi-dot things. You will go but multi-dotting will be fun.
I mean, you actually have to do Ragnaros now as well, because he'll force submerge when total health remaining reaches 50%. So no more just burning straight through. Because man, most guilds never even did the Ragnaros fight, like period, in Classic, because people very quickly found out that you can just burn and you never even have to do the Ragnaros fight mechanic.
Well, people didn't know what Suns did.
Yeah,
they were like, I remember like there was a time where like people had like died to random shit, and then this is like we're literally in like phase 4 or some shit, and the Suns come out and it's like, okay, group up, and then people are like, what is it? What's going on? People had no idea what like the Sons of Flame did.
Yeah, because I mean, you were considered a bad guild if you needed to do that stuff, because
oh yeah, for sure.
The DPS check was actually pretty low to be able to do this.
Yeah. There's also a 60-minute timer displaying the time remaining before he withdraws and despawns. So if you wipe on him, you have 60 minutes to get back and keep doing him until it's gone.
Oh, that's gonna lead to some shenanigans.
Do you ever remember back in the day with Veilstraz?
Oh god.
Veil had a timer where if you wiped on Veil too much, you were locked out of the rest of BWL for the entire week. That's why Veil was a guild killer. Because if somebody griefed your guild and like blew up a bomb in the middle of the raid, or somebody pulled aggro or something and you wiped him, you only got so many attempts on Veil, and that run back is pretty brutal. You only had so many attempts, and then you couldn't do it anymore for the week, and then you locked out the entire guild from loot for the rest of the wing, which is what people thought it would be on in original Classic. Like Classic, last 2 years, people thought that Veilstraz was going to have that mechanic still, and he didn't. And then people were like, "Oh, okay, it's easy now." Because I think it was you have 1 hour to kill Veil. Veilstraz 1 hour. Yeah, you had a 1 hour restriction on the encounter originally in Blackwing Lair.
Yeah, these changes man, it's interesting because I get asked so much whether I'll go back and do Seasonal Mastery, or there's a lot of streamers doing the hardcore challenge now as well. They're all gonna roll up on the hardcore server, and that's the designated server that everyone's gonna roll and play hardcore on for the One Life Road to Ragnaros and such. And it's interesting because it's very good content for a lot of classic streamers right now because we're in that lull phase of WoW right now. We're kind of in between. We're in like phase 2, but we're past the hype of phase 2, and we're just kind of slowly entering that waiting phase for phase 3, where content has kind of died down a lot, and everyone's streamer numbers when they're not doing something new now is very recognizably lower. Compared to if they hop on hardcore, they hop on like seasonal mastery or something, and people see like, oh yeah, this is that new thing everyone's talking about. That people want to go check it out now, which is interesting. And it's not like the numbers have increased overall for WoW that much. It's been pretty similar. It's more that people are migrating to watching more seasonal mastery / hardcore stuff because it's something different from seeing your streamer kill Vash for like the 10th time or whatever it is right now.
Yep.
So it's interesting. I'm very curious to see how the launch is gonna go because a lot of streamers are incentivized if they care about their numbers to do seasonal mastery and hardcore just to keep their numbers going.
I mean, yeah, if you're a fucking streamer who cares about that shit, yeah, 100% you want to do that stuff. I mean, it's the same as being a just chatting streamer and doing Among Us and then swapping to the next game, right? And Fall Guys and stuff. Like, yeah, it's if you care about your numbers, you have to change games or go with the flow, you know?
Yeah. But will you be doing it, Zirene? You still unsure?
My chat would have to convince me to do it, and I don't think I
don't know. I've been very much enjoying my down to 1 raid team. So I only have 2 days dedicated to my raid, and then I just PvP the rest of the time when I have free time. I've been very much enjoying that. The PvP is a lot of fun when you don't have to switch between PvP and PvE mode constantly.
Yeah, no dual spec.
yeah, no dual spec. It is fun though. I've always been jealous of the PvP guys who just PvP sometimes because they don't have that weird brain lag I get when I haven't PvP'd for a few days and I come back and I'm like, oh god, I suck again. It's gonna take me like an hour to get good again. Whereas they, after a few games, they're already like warmed up because they've been playing the entire day practically already.
Yeah.
But yeah, so yeah, that's the seasonal mastery stuff. I'm very interested to see how that's gonna go. I'm still very skeptical about the longevity of seasonal mastery because as event servers have always proven, they seem to always go really well and then die very fast at the same time. Once the initial hype is over.
Well, like people don't really want harder content. Like, let me be fucking real. People don't want harder content because people want content that is like mildly challenging, fun to kill, and they can kill, right? Like, you don't want to slave through stuff that's difficult. You don't want to do things that are tedious and have it be difficult because it's tedious. You want things that are mildly challenging but fun to kill. So you want them to be like fun to do, but you're able to do, right?
Yeah.
You don't want to see, because that's the thing. Like I like asked Stay Safe at one point. I was like, what if Ragnaros, like if you want to make it harder, Ragnaros submerges it every 25%. And he's like, well, that's not a fun thing, right? Like that's definitely harder, but it's not fun. So you have to like find things to do in terms of buffing stuff that is at least fun to do, but and harder. Because he was like, because Shadowlands is fucking harder. Like he's like, Shadowlands bosses are harder. There's shit all over the ground. You got to fucking move. Everybody's individually got to do shit. He's like, Shadowlands bosses are much fucking harder than Classic, and nobody plays that shit. So it's like the big deal that people are actually going for is they don't want more challenging shit. They just want more fun shit to do that not everybody is able to complete, but pretty much everybody. Because you don't play WoW Classic to play a difficult game, right? You don't play WoW Classic to play a fucking hard as fuck game. I mean, that's why speedrunning exists, because the game is easy and you want to make it harder for yourself. That's the fun part of speedrunning, right? So, yeah, it's not a hard game. Go play fucking Dark Souls in like a fucking hard mode. People are making hardcore mode for like WoW because it's so easy, right? So I did like the point of like there are harder versions of WoW out there, like like Shadowlands. I was about to say like there's like Wrath private servers and stuff, but like Wrath is definitely more difficult in its own ways too. So yeah, but yeah, you want harder content that's not like.
I mean, it's unfun. It's an interesting balance to strike as well, because there's a.
It's hard as a designer.
There's a sound marketing philosophy behind that as well, and player behavior. There's a. I don't know if you've heard of the myth of the how ready-made pancakes or like cake mix and such were marketed. I don't know if you've heard the story of what made them popular or not, Zirene. But
no.
Okay, so the myth goes, and it has been proven to be a little bit of a myth now, and there might be other factors to this story, but the reason it's popular is because it's got a sound marketing principle behind it, in that when cake mixes and such were first introduced, it was literally everything inside like the box. Literally, you just like you add water, you shake it, and it's like it's all there. It's just pre-made. But they didn't sell well because they were too easy. People didn't get the accomplishment of I made that cake. Then they took out a few ingredients, like, oh, you got to add your own egg into this. It comes with everything else, but you got to add your own egg, and then you got to add like a little bit of this in there. And it's still pretty much already ready made for you, but now
give me the other shit back, dude. Well, I want that.
Now it's like 2 steps removed or something. So now people have the ease of it, but they also have to do just enough things for them to feel that they have accomplished making this cake, even though they just bought a cake mix or whatever it is, or pancake mix, and added in some eggs. And then the story goes, and that's what made that successful and gave us like cake mixes and pancake mixes and such that we have today. Is that there's that careful balance where you want to make something easy, but not so easy that there's no more accomplishment for the person doing it.
Is that actually true?
Well, I mean, that's why it's a debated marketing thing, but it's
I feel fucked over out of just add water pancake mix. They thought people would be unfulfilled by making instant pancakes. No, I would be filled by making instant pancakes. That's the fucking point.
It would increase the amount of pancakes he would make per hour.
Yeah, like, what the fuck? And I would actually make pancakes at that point. You know? Maybe they should just reintroduce that stuff. You know, just call them gamer pancakes. You know, just are you busy on the go? Just add water, pancakes to go. Like, yeah, I'd fucking do that shit. They didn't know at the time that 2021 me would want instant pancakes, so they fucked it all up. So past marketing people fucked up shit for me nowadays. That's how I feel right now. Is I feel like people shouldn't have fucking done that so that I could have instant pancakes now and have it my way.
Oh god, this is some streamers gonna.
I'm actually upset.
Someone's gonna see this and they're gonna make a lot of money for this. If someone introduces Zirene's just add water pancakes, you are free to send us some free swag, maybe a little bit of credit.
They have to be good too. They can't be just fucking like watery fucking pancakes.
Okay.
Yeah.
But we got sidetracked a little bit. Where were we before pancakes? Okay.
We were talking about making things more difficult. Make waffles instead. Beatty knows what's up. Waffles are actually fucking king.
Waffles are the superior option of the pancake in a lot of cases.
They are.
Yeah. Okay. But back to topics. WoW Community Council, Zirene. WoW Community Council. So they announced this. I guess I can play the video. It's literally only like 1 minute long, so I can play it for people who haven't heard about the WoW Community Council.
I'm Morgan, and I'm a lead game designer for World of Warcraft.
I'm Sarah, and I'm a senior level designer.
I'm Ian, game director for WoW.
I'm Tina, and I'm a lead environment artist.
I'm Pat, the production director for WoW.
And I'm Holly, the lead producer of WoW Classic.
We get a lot of feedback from players, and it's great. We watch and read as much feedback as we can.
Players telling us how they feel about the game leads directly to improvements that we make.
It's a lot of feedback.
Which is awesome.
But we really want to zero in on the most nuanced player comments and have conversations with you about specific issues.
And it's challenging to have a conversation with tens of thousands of people.
So we're kicking off something new, and we're calling it the WoW Community Council.
We're going to invite at least 100 players to a new discussion forum.
All WoW players will be able to see this new forum and everything we discussed there.
For the members, we're looking for players who are passionate about any area of the game.
We're going to invite raiders, PvPers,
Solo players, mythic dungeon lovers,
transmog collectors, WoW classic enthusiasts.
Role players, achievement hunters, and more.
We want to talk with every kind of WoW player.
And if they choose to, we'd like selected participants to join us in regular live chats.
So please, follow the link to apply for the WoW Community Council, and we'll talk to you soon.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So yeah, that is the WoW Community Council announcement. I know both me and Zirene did apply for this. Because why not? But what is your initial thoughts, Zirene?
Wow, it seems like a really good idea. I wonder where this idea came from. Wow. This is very original and has never been done before, and is also a really good idea that has proven to be good in the past. So, damn, good on Blizzard. No, honestly though, like it is our main complaint that we've had for a while is they just need more communication with players, even if it's like just like actual patch notes or hotfix updates and things like that for especially like classic, right? Things get patched out. Just like fucking let us know what's going on. Let us know that you're working on stuff, right? Communicate and have a dialogue with players, because it's been players yelling into the void for a long time. And like, I remember play the beginning of the video again, or I guess the part where they start talking and they said they read feedback and stuff like that.
We get a lot of feedback from players, and it's great. We watch and read as much feedback as we can.
Players telling us how they feel about the game leads directly to improvements that we make.
It's a lot of feedback.
Okay, stop. She said we watch and read as much feedback as we can. They don't fucking respond to it though. Is the problem? That's the problem, right? Right. That's the problem.
And they didn't necessarily say they make the changes based on the feedback either.
And like, here's the thing too, is responding to feedback and telling people why their feedback is bad as well, or like the reason they won't go that direction is like a big deal too, or explaining your mentality. And what I mean by this is like, when I actually talked to someone at Blizzard and they told me like why they weren't adjusting, why they weren't adjusting the price of PvP items, but they were gonna up like how quickly you gained arena points, right? Was because like they were like, oh, back in the day, it took longer for people to clear raids, so they wanted to kind of line up the speed at which you got PvP gear with the speed at which you got PvE gear. So like it might take you 3 or 4 weeks to get a weapon from PvE because you guys can't down Morogrim, right? Like you don't kill Morogrim week 1. It's like somebody might have a weapon for the first time 4 weeks into SSC because it's like the first one on your server. Because people haven't done the progression, people haven't killed shit, right? So it's like it'll take that long. Whereas somebody who's grinding arena points will get it around the same time 4 weeks in. And I was like, that actually makes sense to me. And they were like, they wanted to like increase that, accelerate it a little bit because now people clear the raids instantly. So now they're still trying to keep that kind of like, you might get Talon at the same time that you get like Merciless Gladiator offhand, like 2 weeks in, 3 weeks in, because you've killed Morogrim 3 times, right? And so that's what they're trying to match. And that made a lot of sense to me. And then I was like, well, what about PvP honor stuff? And they were like, well, honor is a problem because you want people to engage with the honor system, and people will engage with it until they don't have to anymore. So it's like, once you have enough honor to buy everything, and then maybe you want to cap again, then you're done and you never touch PvP again, right? Like people don't PvP for fun, they PvP for the rewards. So the rewards had to be something that take a while to actually get, and you can't just like, you maybe get like a piece every weekend, right? So they want it to be something you engage with over and over again. Because if Alliance players had the problem of, hey, Alliance gets honor faster because their queues are faster, it's going to create a cycle of Alliance players get out of the system faster because they don't have to engage with it anymore because they have all the honor they need, right? So if they are able to engage with it more frequently, get on there faster, then they get out faster. It creates less people in the queue for them, which makes horde queues even longer. So it was like, they're like, this is a problem and we have to like work on it. So they were like, we're not going to decrease the prices. We're just going to make it change the way that like queuing into each other works. So when I was told that, I had like full faith in, oh, they actually know what's going on. They understand like the game and they understand the systems and why they are the way that they are and why they need to change them. So just even like having that conversation just builds player trust. And I think this here like builds player trust. And I like the idea. I do really like the idea of having people come in. They said 100 people from all aspects of the game. And it'll be a forum that's public. So other people can look at this and read it, but only certain people can post on it. That I think is really interesting because just don't post anything stupid, Snow. Okay, just don't fucking post anything stupid. You are representing
for all.
Yeah, you are representing all rogues when you post. God, it's actually really funny because actually I won't go into this tangent. It's a little. But yeah. So like when you post in there, just don't post anything stupid. Okay, you do like, but. It does mean that if you post something stupid, everybody's going to see it, and maybe they'll go to your stream.
So post stupid things is what you're saying.
Yeah, post
glaives for all. Delete the warrior class.
Yeah. You just become your stream is just war glaives all the time. You should download iMorph, the new iMorph that doesn't get you banned apparently, and just iMorph glaives on.
Yeah, what is the deal with iMorph, by the way? I thought it got you banned, and now like everyone's using it again. I don't understand.
There's like a new update to it that doesn't get you banned for some reason, so I don't know. But strat boosting gets you banned.
That's true. That actually would be something that would be nice to have a community council talk about to see if that is still a factor of people can be rest assured that they can strat boost or strat far brigade without getting banned.
I don't know. My friend got banned and he just quit the game, so I'm like mad about that shit. He didn't just quit the game. Him and his brother quit the game because they're on the same IP and got IP banned.
Oof. So
they both were forced to quit the game because they missed multiple weeks of raiding before anyone got to their ticket or anything because it had to be escalated. And then when he got unbanned, he got banned again a week later because they unbanned him and went, "Hey, our bad. Let's remove this like 6-month ban." And then he got and then he got like a perma ban or some shit afterwards. And then they IP banned him and banned his brother at the same time. So, yeah. So they said, oh, it was our fault. And then he got banned again. It's just like, what the fuck? I don't know. Yeah.
See,
it's insane. It's insane.
What I'm worried about, though, is, and it's something you mentioned to me when you linked this to me as well, is that it seems very retail focused. Even though Holly Longdale was in the video talking about Classic being part of it, when I went to the forum, there's a forum on this page where you submit and everything. The thing every Classic player points out is like, why are they asking for our armory? None of us have armories. And like a lot of questions, everything seems very tailored towards retail players more so than
I linked
Classic.
my retail armory.
I have a retail armory of a character that hasn't been touched since like 10 years ago, so maybe I should have done that. But
yeah, I linked my retail armory from like my character at the beginning of Shadowlands that's literally in like all top PvP gear because that's all I did is PvP and then stopped. So it's like the max eye level for whatever the previous season was PvP gear. So that's all I did in Shadowlands. I PvP'd and then I did 10 out of 10 heroic and normal Castle Nathria and the 10 out of 10 heroic Castle Nathria because I had no guild. Because like the social aspect seems like gone in retail. So it was like there were like no guilds like recruiting or anything or nobody posting about that shit. And I'm on like a big server on Horde side. And it just felt like I could just pug all normal and heroic shit all the way up. And so I did that and was able to do Mythic then. And I was just like, oh, Mythic is like the stuff you can't pug. And I was like, okay. And so I just PvP'd.
Well, the question is, wait, where did you hear 100 people, by the way? Did they say that in the video, 100 people?
Yes, they do.
Okay. So what I was worried about the most is that this would become like the Twitch ambassador program where it's a lot of fluff that doesn't really seem to accomplish much. where they just invite people to talk and then they don't act on them. That's the thing where I look at it and think like, if they have the people in there, will they actually act on it? Because it feels like, at least in Classic, from my experiences, that Blizzard does make changes and they do sometimes do good things, sometimes they do bad things, but sometimes they do good changes as well. And it's always just been like the speed of execution has been more of an issue than the fact that they don't do anything. Is just the fact that it takes them so long to listen and then act on it and then make the change that by the time the change comes, like 6 months down the line, it's no longer relevant, or people have moved on and they've gotten sick of this other problem already. It's lasted for too long. So that's kind of like what worries me, is that this becomes like a thing where they have this council that doesn't really change anything. And Blizzard just continues acting like Blizzard has always acted.
Yeah. I mean, they at least have to reply now, right? Right?
Right?
Right?
I hope
Like
so. Well, that's the thing, right? Because
right?
it's public. If this does go bust, this will be really bad in that if they don't do this well and it backfires because they don't do this properly and they don't listen and such. This will be a lot of people's, I think a lot of people's last straw in thinking that Blizzard can fix things or care, right? If they make this public and then they don't do anything about it. I saw Preach brought up a good point as well. I was seeing what Preach was saying and a bunch of other creators were saying about this. He brought up an interesting point in that Blizzard does have the Discord servers, like the community servers for certain content creators already. And the question is, will those be different? Will this situation be that different from the already existing Discord servers where devs talk to people in certain content communities and such? Like, how are they going to make this different, basically, outside of the fact that it's open, I guess, or like public for people to see? Because as far as we know, like most of us know at least like one content creator who is in that Discord already. Even if I'm not in there or Zirene's not in there or whatever it is that there are people who are in talk with the devs who are in like the special Blizzard servers where you can talk to them.
Yeah, and give feedback and stuff.
It hasn't helped so far, apparently. So the question is, will this actually help? I don't know.
It helps sometimes, but it's just like it helps once they like get it through to them and they understand like, oh, this is a problem, right?
Yeah.
Like they have to. The interesting thing here is this is like selected by Blizzard and not like community vote to select the people who they think would represent them the best, which might be an issue, right? Because like if people could, like, I know Blizzard will have like more information on people and stuff like that in their accounts and stuff and can maybe see what's going on, but if people were able to like give links to why they should be somebody who like gets like on the council and then the community votes on it, that might be something. But then obviously a popularity contest, etc., with Blizzard maybe having final say. Kind of like, I don't know if you know the esports awards.
Where like everyone else votes for
these people, and then the council ultimately decides, right? So like they have like final say, final vote, but like the panel of judges. So it's not just a popularity contest. So like something like that might be good, because here it's like, who are they going to select, right? Are they going to select people like Asmongold, right? Are they going to select people they don't like, right? What are they going to do, right? And the community also won't know if these people are a good representation of them, right? So like if this is the community council, let's say you and me are both there and we're the only people in WoW Classic or some shit, and we're like, you should make glaives rogue only. Rogue only on the glaives, right? This is a problem. Guilds are breaking up. It's just making a big problem. Just like rogue only, right? And then people can't like post anything in reply, and they're like, we hear you representing all rogues and all warriors. And I'm like, yeah, I play warrior too. They should just go to rogues. And then yeah.
Can you imagine Fight Club?
And it would just be like that, right? It would just be like that. So yeah.
It will be a golden era for rogues everywhere.
Yeah. We need Blade Flurry to be the same cooldown as Sweeping Strikes. Blade Flurry activated with Slice and Dice. Yeah, that'll be the 2-set bonus on tier 6. No. Dude.
Yeah, it's interesting to see how this is going to go down, because this does link into the. Did you read Ian Hazzikostas Venturebeat's interview at all?
No.
Okay, so he did this interview, and a lot of people didn't know about this because it was very retail focused in a lot of the talking. But this was in Venturebeat, and if you skip the initial part, the first half of the interview is a lot about like the Blizzard lawsuit stuff and like the company culture and such. But further down, you get into things that are kind of talking about how they deal with feedback. And hasn't been very I guess people read into it and noticed that a lot of what he's been saying has been like, oh, we hear you. So like here he says like, absolutely, we can always do better at listening to feedback. We can also do better at communicating that we've heard feedback, but aren't necessarily acting on it for whatever reason or taking it under advisement and keeping an eye on it. So the thing that people are picking up is that Blizzard has had feedback in the past, and they have read the feedback, and they have said like, oh, we see the feedback, but they haven't necessarily always listened to the feedback and actually taken it into advisement. And people are saying that it's very stubborn of them a lot of times, is that they have an idea in their head, this is how the game should be, and no matter what feedback they get, they just railroad their path through.
Well, my problem with like, I guess the essence, the core of my problem with Blizzard and feedback is they aren't good at communicating that they've heard the feedback. And when they do communicate that they've heard it, they don't tell you why they aren't taking it, right? They don't tell you why they aren't taking it. Because if they just ignore your feedback, or they don't reply, or they don't like make any post about it, nothing like that, they don't let you know what's in their minds, and you can't argue back or even see it from their perspective, right? Like I said with the whole honor system stuff, I was like, oh, I actually understand that now, and that makes sense to me, right? I want them to show me that they are competent at game design and not to baby people when it comes to letting them know the reasons. Because ultimately what they do is they're just like, we're not going to take that suggestion. And you're like, why? And it's just like, we have our reasons. It's like, what are you keeping a fucking secret? Like, you got some fucking crazy game design system secret that like people couldn't understand, or like, just explain it to us. Explain why you don't want to do it that way, or why you don't want to do it. Because the problem is if you don't let us know why, then we can't actually go, oh, okay, now I understand why you're doing it this way. We're just left not in the know, right? We're left confused about why they won't do that. If they think it will cause too many problems, or they think the way that they're going to do it is going to do it better, etc., or it doesn't help us get on board with them, right? So the only times that they reply to feedback or anything like that hurts them, which I think has been what makes them not want to reply to feedback. It's kind of like fucking, what is it? It's like when Riot Games, somebody said you need more like one. Somebody was wrong, or not wrong. Somebody, I think it was Harambe, was upset at Wukong being reworked and not having like enough damage, right? And then somebody replied and said stuff about like, the damage is fine. The stats show his damage is fine. He's okay. And Harambe likes to play really, really aggressively. He likes to just build full on just like damage and armor pen and stuff, and not an assassin, right? And he was like, you guys should actually like listen to one tricks and people who like play and main this champion and love it. And then this is where the meme of, I'd take the combined 200 years of design experience over people who one-trick champions, basically, right? Where obviously combined experience of 200 years is a fucking meme, right? Combined experience is terrible. Like, if we have 200 years of combined experience on this podcast, I may have one and Snow may have 199, Like, that doesn't help. and I was the one who worked on Wukong with the 1 year of experience. So, but yeah, so like the 200 years of experience meme came from that because it showed us that they actually don't value the opinions of one tricks out in the community, which in our minds should be the ones that they value when they're like reworking champions, which I think in the future has made them talk more with one tricks, or at least, observe one tricks and like see builds and shit like that. So it's just really funny because it may, once a designer, I guess my opinion here is if you reply to feedback and you let us know why, it can reveal to us how smart you are about game design or how incompetent you are, right?
Yeah.
When it comes to those things. And so you need to prove to us that you are good at these things, and you are that you're able to communicate with us and you're making the right decisions because of the right reasons. And that's I think something they have failed to do. So
yeah. Well, I mean, especially with this this interview that came out, some of the stuff that gets said is, for example, I don't know how many people here actually know anything about retail, but like they did go into, like, for example, they use the retail systems in place where you have to pick a covenant and such, and they basically, his answer was that we knew that if this was your orientation to the game, if you're a min-max player, you're always going to want to always be optimal. But as we articulated, the goal of the design team was that the core RPG choice, that feeling of a weighty decision of picking this path versus that path, and having a different story you experienced versus what your friends experienced, was going to provide a better experience for a majority of players. And then it goes along with the fact that a lot of people saw this and they could have told them ahead of time, like, oh, this is a horrible idea. This is really bad. This is really, really, really bad. And they still went with that design philosophy despite all of that. So I think that's what worries people the most when they see Ian explaining his decisions. It's like, are you sure you played the same game as this sometimes? Because the decisions don't make sense if you actually put yourselves in that position. Sometimes it feels like they don't play their own game, right? And I think that's what gets people upset. Like the drums, like it feels like they don't play their own game when they make those sorts of weird changes sometimes.
Well, they added tinnitus and then they didn't fucking revert the thing that made them
add
tinnitus in the first place. Yeah. So, yeah.
So
it's like two people worked on drums and shipped both their changes. So like, yeah.
Yeah, there is, I guess, a nugget of hope towards the end of the interview that I did see where they do admit that, yeah, okay, a lot of this is coming back to their saying because of developer training and so on, that they do need to let go of some of that stubbornness. Basically, he says there's some stubbornness, but clinging to these old lessons. Some things are hard to let go of when you're training, and your education as a designer and developer on the team led to having these things instilled in you. So they do admit in some capacity that maybe they need to change their thinking.
Yeah. Like, as a designer, you're told to trust your design instincts because you can't, like, I think I've said this before, you can't, like, dive into a lake of shit for the candy bar at the bottom, right? Like, you can't wade through all the bad feedback to get to that one golden nugget, right? So it's not worth it. And so you need to trust your instinct and have your instinct honed over time by fucking up. So if you make bad design choices over time, you'll realize and get a better instinct of what is the good choice. You'll hone that, and that'll make you a better designer over time. But the problem is, it just feels like they keep making the same mistakes. So that's I think the biggest thing here, right? So they've been taught and educated as a designer to trust themselves to make mistakes, and then trust themselves to correct them. But the problem is, when you're working on a game like this, those things, when you're not in tune with your audience, cost you dollars, cost you subscriptions, cost you people's fun and their enjoyment of the game. So and it also gives them an opportunity to go play a different game. So I really feel like they need to really hone that instinct, because it's just wrong right now. Like, the thing that made Blizzard of old so great is they just made games that they wanted to fucking play. They made games for themselves that were fun to play for them, and weren't about like money, and weren't about like, appealing to the masses. They were like, I'm going to make a game for fucking me, that I want to play. That's fun for me. And I'm going to eat my own dog food. And if other people want to like join me, then that's great. Right. And here it's just like they're trying to just mass ship something. And I'm sitting here going, is there a designer on the fucking WoW team who sits there and goes, drums are fun the way they are? Does he go, this is fun for me? Right? Because I mean, where is this person? Where is this person who's like, this is the game I want to play? I want to play with 8-yard drums. That seems like a good idea to me. That seems like a really good idea. I want to play this game. Like, because there's people like me who like, people are going to hate me for this, but I love pally buffs when I play pally. I love pally buffs. I love pally buffing. It's like a mini game inside my game. I like that game. I like in speedruns while I'm tanking, in between my Holy Shield Consecrate and Judgment and like Seal and all that shit, I rebuff people while I'm tanking, casting Might on people who died, casting Salve, shit like that, like, or whatever I'm assigned to. I like rebuffing people. I like having to unbuff the Warlock tank from Salve and then put Salve back on him on the next phase on Kael'thas and then have to take it off him again, right? I like that, right? And I get it. It's a downtime pattern to do. Well, I actually like having to weave it in to what I'm already doing. So I like mid-fight rebuffing. I like when people die and I have to go tank, managing my mana to still give them salve and stuff. And I trust myself to give them salve, and I don't trust another paladin to do it. Maybe that's a little control issue. I don't know. Because I've seen people complain about pally buffs for fucking ever, especially salve. And then miting pets. That's the other one too. So fucking mite the pets. We never have to fucking Hero Hunter again, okay? Holy shit. Like, I hate you guys so much if you don't mite pets and somebody has to say that. Like, it just drives me insane. Like, but yeah. So like, because I've been the guy who's like died, and after you die, you're actually more likely to die the next pull because you don't have rebuffs of salve. So yeah, I like the mini game of having to do that in the middle. So finding somebody who likes pally buffing, so you found him, right? You found that motherfucker. He's right here. But I don't find anyone who likes drums in their current state compared to how they could be. Right?
Yeah.
And that's the thing for me. I'm just like, is this fun for anyone? And if this is supposed to be anti-fun and frustrating, is that good design? Right?
Yeah, it feels like they just checked a box somewhere. Like they had this core design philosophy, and they forgot like the giant fun box to tick that one as well.
Are they blue balling me? Are they edging me until ZA? And then when I finally get the drum recipe that gives me the larger like radius drums, is that supposed to be the fun payoff where I go, look at how great this is. Blizzards are amazing. Like, I have to hate you for so long before I like you. Like, it's like when I can just love you right now, if you just made this change. Like, I don't know. It just feels like the people who are making these changes, I want to find the person who will take personal responsibility and say, this is my change. This is why I like this. This is what's fun for me, right? Like at Riot Games, I think one of the things that they do pretty well is they put their designers in the line of fire. No, they put their designers out there. So you know, like, who designed this champion. You know a Certainly T champion when you see it, right? And you know Certainly T is the one behind it. Like, all the champions have a designer latched to it, and you know that person to some degree via interactions online or what their body of work, right? So you know, like, who to blame in a sense, and like, or who to like when you're like, oh, this is an August champion or this is a Jeevan champion. You kind of like know, right? And I think that's the thing too, is you can kind of see their style shift as champion design over time via feedback, etc. And I really like that you understand where these champions are coming from. It almost adds like a new layer to it. So I'd want to know like people on the team so I can be more familiar with the team and the champions, or like not the champions, the people who are like liking certain changes or making certain changes. Because find me that motherfucker in charge of drums. Like, I just don't get it. Sorry, I'm now going on about drums, but like the whole point of making drums shorter range was because you didn't want people to min-max. But it like, then you added tinnitus, which is to prevent the min-max. So why do you need the 8-yard range And it just makes no sense. You made 2 changes when you only needed one of them. And the second one just makes it more annoying and is completely unnecessary. But yeah. Anyway.
Yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, it feels like it always boils down to the fact that Blizzard, somewhere along the line, it seems that they just don't seem to value the fun element of what it means to actually play the game. And at some point, it's like they got a stat sheet of like, okay, this is what a successful game is. Okay, we checked all these boxes, and then we ship it. We're good. But it feels like they forgot about, oh yeah, the players actually have to enjoy this. The players actually have to want to do this. You can't force people to enjoy something just because you believe it should be enjoyable, right? It has to just be actually fun.
It has to be fun. You can't sit there and I'm sorry for this. Like, if anyone at Blizzard listens, you can't sit there on your masturbatory mound and just be like, look at how good my design is. Look at how good this design is. Look at the covenants. Like, you can't just be like, look at this, it's so cool. Like, look at how these things, oh, and this does this, and this is how it all intersects. Ah, that is so good. Like, these systems have to be fun to interact with. They don't have to just be intricate systems that you somehow weaved into the game. And you were like, look at Azerite power. Look at look how great this is. Like, we understand you need to make new systems. You need to make things interesting to engage with, but you have to make them fun to engage with too. And that's where I think things have fallen apart. They lost the fun a lot of the times.
Yeah, exactly. And I guess I hope with this whole community council thing, if they want to do it right, I just hope that they actually, they put these ideas out there, and then if everyone says, hey guys, this is a really dumb idea, maybe you should not do it this way. If you're going to introduce drums, maybe just do the one thing that you already did and then get rid of all the other nonsense. And then they actually look at it and say, hey, you're right. We should do that, right? It'd be very nice if that's how the community council ended up working. I don't know if that's going to happen, but it'd be very nice.
I'm really interested to see the first day of community council where it's just like welcome to my TED talk. These are all the changes that I would like to have be made. Like, instead of just posting one thing that's an issue, you post like 50, and maybe there's another person who posts like the same shit. Yeah. So these are the demands. These are the demands we have. As the representative of the rogue community, glaives for all. We need this. But yeah, I want to see that first day. That first day is going to be really interesting when it happens.
Yeah. So I did learn from the previous week's Zirene. So we're not going to end on a potentially depressing topic. We got speedrun talk.
Oh yes, you put this right at the end.
Yeah, right at the end for all the people who look forward to it. They always say put the best thing last because that's what everyone wants to be here for. We've kept them here waiting for the speedrun talk.
I'm positive they're here for that.
Yeah, it makes sense. So as I'm sure all the avid speedrun lovers out there know, we have 2 really good times.
Oh, that's
actually
me.
3.
That's me at the bottom. That's me at the bottom. No.
Was there a reason, by the way, that all the guilds started to do speedrun suddenly? Was there any,
because one started to do it and talk about it?
Okay, I guess so.
Like, that's all it takes is people had enough gear, and then you start doing it, and then everyone else goes, "Hey, wait a second, we should do that too." And like all the people who have like a speedrun itch start going like, "Yeah, wait," because here's the thing, right? Is if Overclock starts speedrunning and Rain doesn't, Overclock is very aggressive in their poaching. So people will probably go there, right? So this is like, 1, a big recruitment thing, right? Yeah. 2, a very fun thing for the people who are involved and like it. And people have gotten instances down on farm. You have multiple raid teams that are clearing it. So it's gotten to the point in the last 2 weeks or so where people have started to be like, okay, yeah. Somebody started like, thumping their chest and being like, look at our time, bro. Look at our fucking time. And now everybody's like, okay, hold on. We can do that too. Hold our fucking beer. Let's go. So yeah, my favorite thing about it so far that's come out of it is just the comps. I like the comps. I think this is like it definitely goes back to like when I talked about how there will be different compositions. I got the warrior one slightly wrong.
Okay. So I'm
it
showing
did
them
have-
your comp. This is the screenshot that you showed me. Yeah.
This is April. This is a screenshot from April. So I did get the comp slightly wrong. Too many hunters. So
Of all
that
the
was my
things,
problem.
the hunters was the problem.
Yeah,
And the one
it's like-
rogue, the poor rogue.
Yeah, the rogue should be a feral. The prot warrior gets taken out. The holy gets replaced with a ret because they did run ret. So I like overvalued rogue, undervalued ret, and like I did put the resto there because this was a restokin, right? I was already predicting that restokin was going to be a thing. Like I was like boomkin probably not, restokin probably for this composition. But yeah, the BM hunters ended up not being what they went with. They went with warlocks in that group instead. So yeah, but they did also run 6 shamans, and what they did is they double lusted 3 groups. They double lusted their 2 warrior groups and their warlock group. So they ran 6 shamans and double lusted 3 groups. Actually, fucking smart. So, but yeah, so warriors are completely fine, right? Warrior speed running is completely viable, right? I talked about that like fucking 7 months ago that warriors are going to be fine. And people just shit all over me for it. I don't know what the fuck that was, but you know, whatever. They ran 1 hunter. They ran the 1 survival. Yeah. How come they have BM over survival? No, they have a survival hunter. He's survival. They only have 1 survival.
Yeah, so for the people who don't know, this is Noda who ended up second for this current era. I don't know how to do it now because we don't have Dharma. We don't have like the buff period where everyone's like, okay, Darkmoon Fair's here. They've won for the fair period. Like there's no Darkmoon Fair for another week. Now it's like any week this rankings could change because they can do it every week if they want to.
This comp got number 1 at the time, right?
Yeah. So yeah, this was number 1 at the time. This was Noda's melee mix comp, I guess warrior comp. They had more warriors in there than you would expect. And then
it's 11 melee, 2 tanks. 11 melee, 2 tanks, 5 healers. Is what they ran.
And then we have the other comp, which is
which is really funny because
comp.
I did talk about this too. I hate saying I did talk about this. It sounds like I'm just like I did look how smart I am. But I did talk about this around the same time where I was like, there's probably just going to be 2 compositions. One is warlocks supported by mages and maybe shadow priest. And then the other one is going to be warriors supported by hunters. But I felt like the hunter part was a miss. Hunter stock is at an all-time low. Sorry. I know you guys want to be good because you were really bad for a long time in Classic, but you know, the top 2 comps brought 1 hunter. The 3rd comp brought a lot of hunters. So, you know, you guys, if you were losing raid spots, you have guilds to go to. Like Calamity did run 6 hunters. So, you know, but yeah, the composition is just going to change all the time, right? It's going to change all the time. That's my. Oh, they ran a rogue too. There's your 1 rogue in the top 5 speedruns. By the way, I'm pretty sure Overclock isn't running Restokin. Probably not because wait, go back to Overclock. Yeah. I don't think he is because they don't need it for warlocks, right? If they're warlock stacking, they don't need the 3% hit. So they just like run the guy like that. I don't know why they would do it that way, but it is what it is. Yeah, but I don't know. It's really funny. I'm waiting for the druid mage stack.
It's fascinating that everyone
Need
just
the
kind of
innovate-
like picked one of the top DPS classes and stacked it, basically.
Yeah.
So these guys went with warriors, these
Except
guys went
mages.
with warlocks, and then these guys went with the hunters.
Yeah, mages are like definitely like high output, like probably the highest output. Actually, they are objectively the highest output class, but they need a battery. So for every good mage, there's a strong, independent druid behind them. So every parsing mage has that druid back at home, has that innervate on whisper. So, but that's the thing for me that's really exciting, because two of the compositions that I kind of predicted would come out have, for the most part, save for like a miss on my end of thinking hunters would be good, because, you know, I too was like, to some degree, caved into peer pressure of hunters will be good. Of, you know, they're good on private servers, which I do want to make this point too, is Snow, I don't know how much you like Sims. I think you're a Sim guy. You kind of like Sims, right?
Yeah, mostly. Depending
I fucking
on,
hate Sims. I fucking hate Sims. I hate Sims because Sims, one, don't account for like real world shit, movement, all those types of things, uptime, etc. But the other thing that I don't like about Sims is I don't like that the sim you have to accept the premise of the sim initially to even believe the sim in the first place. You have to sit there and go, they got all of their inputs, values, and calculations correct before I can even invest in this. But people just go, the sim said that's good. This sim's better than this. And I'm like, well, did they value haste exactly correct on rogues per point? Did they value armor pen exactly correct on this class, right? They have to get their values, which a lot of the times, some of those values are a little bit subjective, just a little bit, you know, just a little bit. Or they might be wrong just ever so slightly.
Oh,
right?
I've gotten into some nerd debates with the Sims before. I have gotten into some before because I'm someone, I like the tool of the Sim, but I also understand that sometimes like there's multiple ways to figure something out, and like because it's not an exact duplication, it's not always going to agree with exactly what should happen necessarily, and like there's going to be different ways to get to roughly a similar conclusion, and it's hard to say like what's more accurate one way or the other, because for example, the rogues have two Sims, two popular Sims right now, and they both do rotation slightly differently. And I've always been someone in the camp that has said like, oh, I think both Sims are valid. They just do like the rotation slightly differently in this way. And then I've had other people tell me, no, this is the only way that they can be done. And then I've always disagreed and said, no, like, look, they're both trying to figure something out that's super complicated and very hard to do. So I wouldn't necessarily put stock in that like this is the only way that a rotation can be inputted in a sim and such, right?
Just sim it yourself. Just get war glaives and then see how good they are. But like that's the thing that I don't like, is like the value people place on Sims and the value people place on things where like you didn't even know like the armor values and all that shit that was going to go into it. Like I really feel like at the end of the day, just use your fucking, actually, I was going to say use your brain, but at the end of the day, use my brain. At the end of the day, use Snow's brain. So, but like, ultimately what I'm getting at is don't always fucking take Sims or other people's opinions for what they like as fact. Even my own, right? Like I said the warrior thing, I said the warlock thing, right? Ultimately, I got like the hunter shit wrong. Just don't take what people say for fact. Just like look at the foundation on which their ideas are based on, and if those ideas hold weight and like hold water, right? Because if they don't, and it just feels like it's grounded in shit, then it's gonna be shit, right? Like the whole reason I thought warriors would be good is I was like, there is no fucking way in hell, in fucking any reality. Even when I look at like private server shit, and they're like, oh, look at how good hunters are on these parses. Look at how good a glaive rogue is on this parses, who's like sprinkled in there. And I'm just like, okay, like, how is there no debate here about like warrior sweeping strike whirlwind is fucking insane. Warriors are so good right now. In my opinion, warriors in their current state are better than classic warriors without world buffs. Because if you could have world buffs on warriors the way they are now, it would be a warrior stack meta all over again. Right? unbuffed warriors now are better than unbuffed warriors in Classic. Right? The class is actually just better. Right? Sweeping strikes is an insane amount of damage for the thing that warriors are meant to do, which is shit on trash. Right? And whirlwind hitting with both weapons is fucking disgusting in terms of the damage increase. Right? It's like, just look at what's in front of you and look at the ideas on paper and how they compare to each other. There's just like no way that warriors were ever going to be bad. Right? People are saying like melee mechanics are like really unforgiving and shit. And I'm like, there are probably some fights like Muru or something where you can't even hit the boss. Like, oh, Baladred or Copernian, right? But you look at fucking Kael'thas and you're just like, warriors shit on Kael'thas still. Even though they can't hit fucking Copernian, they shit on that fight still. Because warriors, in my opinion, are just a class that they are the main PvE characters in WoW. Mages are the main PvP characters. You know, they're the main characters there. And warlocks are kind of the best supporting actor in both. Like they could get they could get bumped up to, lead actor at any point. So that in my opinion, warriors are just like most people's opinion, like the most fun class to play. And therefore they were like always tailored to back then. So I don't know. It just feels to me like when you look at what they had, the tools they had, there was no way they were going to be bad. There's no way they were going to be bad, dude. Yeah, mage is the one that surprised me because I just didn't think they'd have the mana to do it, right? But when there's a fucking will, there's a fucking way, dude. Like you get those innervates, you get 2 innervates, you stack all int gems. Like people are running around with 15k mana, dude. It is nutty. They get spirit, right? So I like applaud mages because mages are the class that I thought would be like 5th in damage, but they're really like 1st or 2nd.
I mean, the funny thing about mages is that everyone was like, oh, finally, we're entering an era where mages are not like the best class in the game.
They rerolled warlocks. The mages rerolled warlocks.
And then we enter TBC and they're still like an amazing class in the game.
Like, so if you don't play right now, if you are a rogue player, right, and you don't like understand what we're talking about, I'm going to put it this way. Playing mage right now is like playing rogue, but you're fucking good, right? Like you're the class that people are like, oh, we don't want to stack you. We'll take like 1, maybe 2 of you, but then they put resources into you and you actually fucking pump. Like it's like playing rogue, but you're good. That's what it's like to play like mage right now. So all the people who like stuck with mage are just like, fuck yeah, I got this raid spot. It is mine. I didn't fucking get the copium that the warlocks are all on. So they're like rewarded for their faith, right? Whereas rogues are down here just like, just wait for glaives, man. Just wait for glaives. They'll come. I'll be able to be up there like maybe in the top.
Dude, no. The rogues are big brain, man. Look at the percentage of rogues high up in officer teams. They prepared for this. They prepared. There's a reason. We got Bobka in the chat. There's a reason that all these guys are running guilds and officer crews and such. Rogues thought ahead. We saw the problem coming up and we thought ahead. Just start your own guild.
Yeah, if you're the one who releases the roster every week, you're just like, all right, guys, rosters are posted. Just ignore the yellow, and we're good. We're good. Yeah. Raid 1 spot, by the way. I'm an officer in my guild too. Yeah. It really do be like that, dude. It really rogues are used to this though, because I remember back in classic WoW being level 40 and 41 or something like that, and wanting to do ZF.
Oh,
and
yeah.
I could never get a group. And people were like, you should just do the mallet quest. People were like, you should just do the mallet quest. People will bring you if you have the mallet. And I was like, I'll probably go do that. But first, let me try something. And then I just made all of my own groups. Because people don't click on you and see what class you are when you say you're looking for DPS. So I had a lot of groups where it was like a tank and then a bunch of mages. It was like a tank, 2 mages, me, and then a healer. And I would just sit back and I'd let the mages do all the work. Because that's what it's like being a rogue. You just let everyone else do all the work for you. But you front loaded everything, right? You put the group together. You are rewarded for putting the group together by getting to be in the group. So that's what you get. And apparently, if you run the guild, you don't get glaives. So sorry, Snow. Like, you just get to be in the raid. That's your reward.
That actually was raised as one of the points. It was like, yeah, well, if you keep doing what you're doing, you have a raid to raid in.
You have a raid spot. You don't. What makes you think you're going to get glaives? You get to play rogue in the raid. That's its own reward. That's like being like, oh man, I really enjoy playing two-handed enhancement in raid. I know that it's not good, but I get to do it now. And it's like, well, yeah, I guess he gets to clown in raid. That's fine. The 24 other people will carry him every week. Like you carry the roster and the administrative shit, and we'll carry you. Okay, yeah, it's a tit for tat, right? But yeah, so yeah, that actually is a funny argument though, because I'm sitting there going like, should a rogue who runs a guild get glaives because they run the guild, or should they just be happy they have a fucking raid spot? Because part of me is like, you're the class that brings less damage than the other DPS classes. You bring no debuff whatsoever to trash, except for maybe a expose on bosses.
You bring morals, Zirene. Morals and wit and intangibles.
You bring intangibles. You bring morale. You bring morale up because
morale officer.
Because people will be like, at least I beat the rogue, right? On the damage meter. That's what you're in charge of. You're in charge of making that boomkin and that survival hunter feel really good about themselves.
Or you just rename yourself to Resto Shaman and you don't have to worry about this problem on the damage meters.
Oh god. Oh man. I really do like the new all these compositions. Why is this podcast anti-rogue? Sometimes you hate yourself a lot, Bobka. Sometimes you really hate yourself just a god-awful amount.
Don't worry, I'm sure one of these teams is going to stack rogue one week. Sure.
You just made me... Dude, Snow, you should do a pug... You should do a pug SSC rogue stack. You don't raid on your character. And there's a bunch of homeless rogues out there, especially on the Horde side. And I know they PvP. You should do, for stream content, you should do the rogue stack. This from the man who brought you Tempest Keep Mutilate comes the new adventure of SSC rogue stack.
How many rogues is too many? Well, you never reach that number if you never try.
Yeah, it's like, how many licks does it take to get the center of a Tootsie Pop? It's like, how many rogues does a raid really need? And you just keep adding rogues, right? So it's like, I like that idea. I think that's a great idea, right? 2-minute break after every trash.
Amazing.
You don't need that 2-minute break, because what's going to happen is you'll kill it. You'll kill the first 2 mobs really fast, and it'll take you a minute and 45 seconds to kill the next 3 mobs and 4 mobs in the pack. So those first 2 they'll die real fucking quick. But the rest of that pack, that's it's gonna take a bit of time. So just stealth by them. Yeah, the rogue stack will have the fastest with trash skips clear. That's incredible. That makes sense to me. That makes sense. Oh fucking Christ, dude.
I tell you, Vash is going to be interesting in a rogue stack guild.
Yeah, just use Gordok ogre suits, dude. You see that stuff? People still. I talked about that. People fucking doing that.
I'm still not sold on the Gordok suit on Vash.
It's
not
good.
Sold on the.
It's
just
good.
Because I've never run into a situation where I actually needed to use them, because they always die before I get to ever attack them. It feels like it's only relevant if your guild sucks and you don't have caster damage.
Yeah. God, and I'm just imagining how that comp that Bobka just said, where it's 17 rogues, 3 bears, 5 resto druids, full stealth team. I just imagine how they would do Morogrim. That'd be really fucking awful.
A lot of evasion tanking and zug the bus.
Yeah, I mean, you'd put life blooms on the bear, I guess, and then the bear would it would pop, and so the bear would get aggro because a life bloom counts as your threat for healing. So I don't know, but yeah, no. Good Lord, dude. Can we do this? Can we go make a comp right now that uses as many rogues as possible just to be as pro rogue as we possibly could be?
Okay, sure. Yeah, let's make a comp.
Because we've been pro warlock, we've been pro mage, we've been pro warrior since April.
Okay, we can do that.
We've been there, but we've never really tried out the rogue composition. Nobody has. Like an actual composition that you could run that would just run rogues in the DPS spots. So you got to have at least your 5 shamans. You got to have at least your 2-3 tanks, right? You bring a little bit of extra, maybe a warrior to sunder, right? I think like the three paladins. So how many rogues could you possibly bring to a raid that could still maybe clear the content? What is the maximum number of rogues you could bring?
God, this is definitely not reaching
clear.
max level copium.
No, it's science. All right. What is the maximum number of rogues you could bring and still clear it? You need a warrior in each group for battle shout. Perfect. That's like 2-3 warriors. You need the minimum number of classes first. So you need to bring like your 5 shamans. You need to bring your 3 paladins. You got to bring at least like 1 prot, 1 holy, 1 ret. Survival hunter. Yeah.
Okay, what did I get? I got enhance, 2 restos, an elemental. What else do we want?
You need another shaman.
What do we want though?
Fuck the Ellie. Get another enhancement in there.
Really?
Make 3 enhanced groups. 3 enhanced, 2 resto. I like where Feral Blade's going here.
Okay.
Yeah, you don't need that Ellie. Get him out of there.
Okay.
There you go. This is looking better already. Yeah. All right. So we need.
You got to get like an arms warrior for the debuff, right? And then
Yeah. Just bring an arms warrior.
You gotta get one.
Well, yeah. Bring 1 arms warrior. Let's bring the 3 paladins next. Let's just get the 3 paladins real fast. Survival hunter.
Do we want any other hunters? We don't need any other hunters.
No,
we don't need range.
Fuck them. Nah. Let's bring a druid, a bear. We got to bring a bear and a boomkin at least. Right?
Yeah. And a boomkin.
It's probably an imp fairy fire. Yeah, it's probably just an imp fairy fire. We don't need the boomkin. You make him resto, kin. Just make him resto, and we'll know that he's a healer.
Okay.
Yeah, get rid of him. Get rid of him. Yeah. Yeah. We need 1 warlock for Curse of Wreck. Probably need another druid.
Oh, two pharaohs? You think?
Yeah.
A double pharaoh group? Okay.
11 slots left.
How many healers do we have? 1, 2, 3, 4 healers.
We have 4? Bring another lust.
Oh, that's true. It is another lust. It's another lust.
That group will have Wind Fury, and it'll have Wind Fury, and it will have Agi the entire time. It'll be amazing. Bring a Shadow Priest, just because we got to have like 1 Shadow. Yeah, token Shadow Priest. We need our tanks to at least have the Fortitude buff of some kind. Not even.
That's true. Yeah, they don't even have
we gotta have Fort of some kind.
Okay.
And I'm saying we have to clear the content still. Like we gotta have enough. Like
I mean, we can mix up the rogues as well. We can bring a Hemo rogue. We can bring an exposed armor rogue if we want.
Good Lord. Do we bring 1 arcane mage?
Wait, what do we need a mage for?
For the AoE on like Morogrim and stuff like that.
But I thought that's what our 10 Blade Flurries are for. 2 Fury Warriors and the rest rogues.
Yeah, I think Firo might be right here. Who's kiting the Striders in this composition?
I mean, we have 3 Resto Shamans.
Yeah, I'm sure they could do that and heal. Just make the prop paladin do it. He'll run in circles with Consecrate and get misdirected.
So this would be like a 7 rogue Rusta.
Okay, now let's make the actual groups.
Okay.
So like groups 1, 2, and 3 should all have the enhancements.
Okay, so there's going to be
Right.
the pumper groups.
And then group 1 is feral, enhancement, and arms, and 2 rogues. Group 2 is the same, but a fury warrior. Group 3 is fury, rogue, enhancement, third rogue. Group 5 looks perfect to me, except that I would swap the prot and the holy. There you go. This is what I think that's what Noda ran. I think they ran 2 restos.
This is definitely what Noda ran. This is the Noda comp.
No. The group 5 is what Noda ran. They had 2 restos, prot, ret, survival in the same group. So they had Wind Fury down for the ret the whole time, and they had Wind Fury and Wrath of Air down for the prot and the ret the entire time. They didn't really twist Agi, so the survival hunter didn't have plus Agi. I looked into that and I was like, oh, yeah, the survival's cucked, but he's in a rogue comp, dude. This ain't a hunter comp. And then you have 3 healers with the Shadow Priest and then the Destro.
I tell you, the KT fight's going to be interesting. 5,000 rogues weaving in and out of Capernian.
Hey, but you know, people ain't going to be mind controlled for long. That's and those kicks are going to go off this time. Oh god, this is the most mediocre stacked DPS. We literally just went. Let's stack the worst DPS class. No, sorry, not worst DPS class. Let's stack the worst pure DPS class in the game. Now, the boomkins, stuff like that. You guys at least add something. All we do is take on Rogue. So, do it for the content, Snow. you don't raid. What are you gonna do? Fuck your lockout and not get loot? It's what you're already doing. So just make a pug on Horde side, and do this. I'll do it, Snow. Beatty, are you on Horde side still? I don't even know if you're on Horde side. My prop paladin is on the come up right now. I'm level 55 on Fairlina.
Can you imagine the poor prop paladin gets invited last to this comp though? He's
like, what did I do to fucking deserve this? Like, the guy is going to be kiting Murlocs for days. He's literally going to be kiting 3 stacks of Murlocs. Which, dude, have you ever looked at? All right, so this is the biggest meme in the whole world. I actually hate looking at these things, but they're fucking funny sometimes. Is prop paladin DPS parses, because being a prop paladin who parses DPS does not necessarily make you good. It usually just means you cheese something. The number 1 prop paladin parse on Morogrim is a paladin where they didn't kill Murlocs, and he kited the entire time. And every time Murlocs came out, somebody died because he can't heal. Right? He's not spamming heal or anything like that. He's not able to like cast Holy Light to get aggro or like spam blessings enough, so that they run up, kill a healer, and then they're in his consecrate and get 2 ticks, and then they come at him. So the number 1 prop valley parse, you can pull it up on Warcraft logs actually right now. They didn't kill any Murlocs. People constantly die left and right, and it's all for the parse. And the mage just uses Blizzard the entire time to slow them. There you go. Yeah. I think this is it. Go check deaths and stuff. Like, look at that poor mage, dude. All he had to do was Blizzard the whole time. Yeah. Like look at how many healers died. It's like 1 healer, 2 healer, same healer again. Then they lost like 4 healers died in this fight because they got meleeed by Murlocs. He's Moon, right? Yeah, he's Moon. And he's running in circles. I'm surprised we don't have any Murloc fucking icons. It doesn't show all the little Murlocs. That's unfortunate. But yeah, he's just running around in circles. And then when the next one comes out, like there, you see he's not casting anything. He's not doing anything. He buffs Salve. He buffs Salve again. That's not going to be enough. Oh, there goes Bojanko. Bojanko's dead. Oh, there goes Hesso. And then now he has all the Murlocs. Like, it's just ridiculous, dude. I love how sometimes you got to play wrong to get the parse, you know? You got to play bad to get the parse. This is like objectively like a really bad way to do Morogrim, but if the prop pally wants to parse, you know?
The prop pally wants to pass.
Yep. That's a nice 3-minute kill though. Yeah. It's pretty good. I like his consecrate DPS. You see it's like 1.1k. Pretty sure it just keeps going up. Like it's like stonks, dude. The consecrate DPS is just going to keep going up throughout this fight. Because he's just going to have more and more Burlocks that aren't getting killed. Because I'm pretty sure they're just getting... I'm pretty sure they're just getting blizzarded. And that's it. Is he up to 3 packs yet? When does he get up to 3?
Oh, Morgan's at 22%, so he must be getting there.
1.3k DPS. There he goes. It feels like every Murloc pack that gets added, he gets like 400, 500 more DPS to consecrate. It's fucking great.
How does one go about proposing this strategy to the guild?
Let's not kill them. Well, this is the strategy you would use in the all rogue composition. You would kill him.
Oh, that's true. That is Zirene. That's Zirene's job in the in our rogue comp. Yeah.
I will kite them. Just give me one mage with Imp Blizzard in this composition. I know we don't have one. But just give me one and just make them. Maybe that's what we need to bring. Maybe we need to bring one mage. We need to fit a mage in here.
Oh no, we might lose a rogue.
Maybe we maybe we remove the shaman in group 1 be resto and then add a mage, or you take out the shadow priest and nobody has fort.
You use stamina scrolls like chat suggesting. Everyone just be stamina scrolls. Yeah.
You're right. You guys are fucking yeah. Just get rid of the shadow priest.
Need the shadow priest. Scrolls.
Yeah. And the
one mage. Wait.
You can still get Imp Blizzard with Arcane. You just go like mild Frost Cuck. But he's gonna get all 3 innervates, right?
Oh, that's
he's gonna get 2. He'll get 2.5 innervates. The main tank innervate will be a little bit, but yeah. He doesn't have a Shadow Priest. Oh well. But okay. So posting an LFG after this. Snow, do it. Let's do it.
This wasn't really what I had in mind when I thought I was gonna stop raiding on that rogue.
Hey, let me tell you. 1, it'll be content. 2 is the best part. It'll be a day's worth of content. It'll be very long. Well,
it's gonna be a very long raid, guys.
It's gonna be a very long.
Everyone brought enough consumables.
Sounds like a ton of fun. I mean, I have played a raid with 3 rogues in it, and I can tell you it was not what would any of them probably consider fun. So
it's because they didn't hit critical mass. They didn't hit critical mass.
Yes. You're right.
3 is too little is the problem.
But here's the thing. This would be an easy comp to put together. Like, no joke. It'd be really easy to put together. There's definitely a lot of homeless rogues out there, right? There's a lot of homeless rogues out there.
Well, I feel you get the warriors too. There's a lot of warriors who need guilds as well.
Oh, yeah.
Warriors and rogues.
Sure. I love how I'm roping you into this, and I'm like, I'm not going to fucking touch this comp ever. Like my rogue has a secure spot in a guild. I'm getting glaives. It's fine. But yeah, imagine reading an LFG chat looking for 6 more rogues SSC. Dude, you would get so many whispers so quickly. People would be like, rogue here, rogue. Like, it'll be the first time in their lives that they ever get to reply and say rogue here instead of just DPS. Yeah, like invite DPS. I would watch this. I would watch this.
You wouldn't want to do it, but you want to watch this.
Yeah, I would watch this and make fun of it in chat the entire time. Right? So
anyway, we went on a bit of a tangent for a while, guys. But the good news is we didn't end on an unhappy topic. We ended on rogue meta comps.
Rogue composition.
Yeah, rogue composition.
When are you running this?
Hopefully never.
Next stream. No. I'm sure a lot of these rogues would be really happy, Snow. You're supposed to be pro rogue, right? You're supposed to be the champion of the rogues.
I look forward to looking for a group for a long time, finding the resto shamans to fill out the comp.
You don't tell them what the comp is. You just get them. What you do is you get all of these other people first, and then you fill the rest of the spots with rogues immediately, and you zone in. The rogues will be real easy. You just hide all the rogues. in a different group, and then you invite them all at once and you pull. So,
all right. Well, before we go on any more tangents, I should wrap up the podcast here, guys.
all right.
Thank you guys for hanging out today. It's been a fun one. We got some good comms. Thanks for hanging out. We'll see you guys next week. Take care.